Yes, you want to talk about what you're doing here because it's been pretty crazy news over the last year or so since it was announced that the unit, which is Ryan Nyquist Park, former park for everybody that doesn't know, is being repurposed, and you have Ron Kilmer out there helping you guys put it back together.
Yeah. Kimler's been here and his son for the past month or so. They're taking this weekend off. We just did like about 16, 17 days straight with no days off in this heat. So it's nice to have a little break. But yeah, we've been trying to do this forever, and it's just one of those things that has kind of snowballed. Like, I've been trying to get a park in this town. I'm originally from here, so like it's Kinston. It's only like 30 minutes from Greenville. So like I grew up being like a local in Greenville as a kid and all the way through. But we never had a park here in this town. So when I moved back, I had my kids, and I started trying to get a park. Around the same time, Ryan decided to shut the unit down. So that was, a crazy thing because we actually had the ability to store the ramps. So two of my best friends that I grew up riding with, they have a roofing business, family business that has some extra warehouses. Like they weren't great to necessarily like put the ramps in to ride. We had some stuff in there to ride, but like the ceilings were low, but we had free storage. So Ryan, I think Dan Foley is kind of the reason that it even happened, because Dan had come to ride the ramps we had set up in there. And he was like, Kevin's got a warehouse if you want to reach out to him. So we got the ramps, which was just an insane task within itself. There was a ton of stuff there. And Ryan Corrigan and Kimmler both took those things apart so well, which I still think is like a miraculous feat. And we moved them all. And I think it took like 60 some trips in 2 weeks with trailers, 45 minutes from the unit where the unit was to our warehouse. So each way. So it was crazy. And we had some super solid dudes that helped us out, like Alex Johan and Showtime, my buddy Robert, myself, and a handful of other guys. So we saved it. And at that point, it was kind of on, like, you can't keep the ramps outside. Obviously, it's indoor skate light, like non-treated wood. And the cool thing about this town is there's been kind of like a revitalization in the neighborhood like I kind of grew up in. And there's a brewery in town that's owned by a guy that's doing a lot of the revitalization. And once he heard we had the ramps back in 2019, he started trying to find us a building. And as well as I do, like indoor skate parks are not a great business model. And like you need a big warehouse, which costs a lot of money. And that's normally why they fail. So we went on the hunt for that. He started really getting down into it. It's funny because the warehouse we ended up getting is almost the same size as the unit. It's actually a little bit bigger. Same kind of construction of the building. Yeah, you can kind of see this is just that one room, and then there's a second 5,000 square foot room. So we got the building. It was actually donated. This whole property was donated to the city back in like 2015, and so the guy that's helping us actually structured us under his nonprofit, which has been taking this neighborhood. He's got like an arts program where they take like artists from all over and give them subsidized housing so they can have like do their art, so we're under his nonprofit, and we got the building basically a free lease for 20 years with the option to renew. So like we don't have any costs as far as paying for the building, which sets us up for long term. So like it's not like we're gonna do all this work and in 2 or 3 years like we're like, oh, we don't have enough money to keep it going. Like this is a long term kind of deal. So did that. I mean, it took a long time to make that happen. Working with any local government, they drag their feet. And even when somebody that's tried and true like him, that's done a lot of these rejuvenations of these properties, they still took forever. So I kind of felt like people kind of started writing it off like, yeah, it's going to happen. Like how many people have said they're going to build a skate park or they've got this thing or whatever. So in all honesty, this place shouldn't exist. And it's a miracle that it does. And it's super sick that it's actually happening. And I just want to, personally, like being a kid growing up in Greenville, like seeing all that, like through its golden era, I guess, like late 90s into like when it blew up and became like BMX Hollywood when everybody was moving there to try to be a pro. Like I knew it was not going to last forever. And so once Dave died, and then once the unit closed, it really, it was sad. Like Greenville's kind of, I mean, there's still a solid core group of dudes there, but the magic was kind of gone. So I'm trying to kind of, even though we're not technically Greenville, I'm trying to bring a little bit of that back, like same environment that everybody can kind of come hang out and ride in and whatever. So it's been really cool, man. We've done it. It's not like I come for money or anything. Like we've raised all the funds, and we've had a lot of wins. With one having the storage, I mean, we would have never made this happen if we didn't have a place to put them. So,
I mean, the building's the hardest part, like you said. Like
yeah.
it's I mean, I worked at the Flow for years, which is a big indoor park in Ohio, and it was like the same deal. They had to move twice because of building changes and stuff, and that's in every park pretty much ever.
Yeah,
so
for
you're very
sure.
lucky.
Yeah, and normally you'll have you watch it, and then we've all watched so many parks open and close, and it's like you're never gonna putting a park in a really nice piece of real estate is never gonna happen because it's just too much. Or like you have a friend that has a warehouse that's like willing to rent it to you for a little bit, and then you do a lot of repairs to it, and all next thing you know, somebody wants to get it that's willing to pay, that has a bigger business or whatever. So they're always like limited time frame. So I knew if we were going to do this, we needed to structure it in a way that it's not gonna, that it would last and not be in like a couple of years be a problem. So that's what we've done, that's what took a long time. It's really hard to convince somebody to give you a free building. So, but it worked out. So super stoked on it. Like I come in here, this was like a cotton processing plant, and the building next to us is like 100 years old or whatever. And it was messy, and there was big equipment in here. And like we had to do from everything, like dudes came in here and stole the copper. So there was no like electricity, no wiring. Like it's been, we've done all this in 8 months. And now we got about a month left of building the park. And then we're going to do some stuff like clean up and all that. And then, we've already built like our little kind of check-in entrance. It's going to have AC and all that. And then we've got a separate little building. Thankfully, it's close enough where we're going to have our bathrooms and stuff that's in the process as well. And it's big enough where we're going to do like a little maybe mini museum kind of thing where we're going to have some cool stuff in there. Hopefully I can collect more, or talk to Madison Mira about maybe getting some of Dave's stuff. So it'll be pretty cool. And then, the other thing is, it's like, this is more of a nod, even though it's all the unit ramps, like we're building a lot more new stuff, like the setup's different. So like there's features that you can see that are obviously from the unit, like the doorway and, some of the walls, and like the box jump setups sort of similar, trying to make it a little bit more user friendly. Like if you never rode the unit, like there was lines for days, but like if you wanted to hit a spine, you had to like do all this stuff just to hit the spine. So like we have it more structured like as a regular setup where you have like box jump, spine, wall ride, quarter, but then there's like all these other lines left and right, and like all the hips and stuff too. So it's a little different, but a little better. And then we're going to have, which we'll start building the next couple of weeks, like a rhythm section kind of deal, like jump line that kind of runs around down the side. And then all the, if you want to do all the training stuff, like the foam pit and the resis and all that stuff. So, and then
it's one thing to take into account is like, the unit was a private park, but when you do a public park, you got to think about traffic, multiple people,
for sure,
skill levels. The unit's a little different. Like those dudes rode, they're pro riders. It's a little different than opening it up to kids and then adults, and you have to have.
For sure.
Obviously, that, but like the chat here might not think about that. Like, I'm sure a lot of people were like, "Are you building the exact replica of the unit?" But it makes sense that obviously you're going to add your own stuff too, but also for the sake of traffic and logistics of like opening.
Yeah, being a park, like where do the parents watch? Like where do you go? Like where do you sit? Like one of the problems with the unit was there were so many lines on the box jump, but that's where everybody sat. So like if it was busy, like you couldn't do anything but jump it straight. And so it's like trying to figure out all those things, which Ron, Kimmler has been like, he's true veteran, man. Like if anybody ever needs a park built or any ramp built, like hit him up. Like he is the man. Like, it's insane. He is insanely good at what he does. So, and we did take these, Ryan initially, like, these ramps were all labeled to put them back as they were if we wanted to. One, there's that little bit of like, if you do it, like, even if you put it together better somehow, like, somebody would be like, it's not quite the same or whatever, So, like, you just kind of, I think initially, like, that was the hope with Ryan. And then the more we kind of got going on, which I have not left him out of this. Like, we got some of the first drafts of the design, and like, he was the first one to get them. So, like, just, want him involved. And he's only like an hour and 15 minutes away from here. So, like, him and Jameson will be here a lot, I'm sure. But, and then even dudes like Darden, like, I was a little worried when we told him that we weren't building it back the same, and he agreed that it shouldn't be. So, like, it's one of the aspects, like, it's unit-esque, and like, you'll be able to go through the doorway, you'll be able to see the sign and all that, but it's new, so, which is cool. And then the other nod to, like, even the Animal House, like, we have Brian Lee doing a big mural on the wall ride, like. And the wall ride that we have is more Animal House-esque versus like how the unit was set up. So it's a little bit of a nod to, the past here, but like also new. So
It's cool. So it's like obviously it is history, but it's Greenville history, and it's cool that you are keeping like that alive to an extent because you are very close. And Dave's warehouse was actually like in Winterville, North Carolina.
Yeah, which is only like 20 minutes from here. So it was closer to us, which it's funny because like I rode Dave's way more than the unit, and like, which I had like backyard ramps, and I liked riding my house here because obviously driving every day, it's a little bit of a chore, but like I didn't ride the unit as much. Like Marcus Tooker kind of got me in on a few sessions early on, and I liked it, but like, like I was in high school and I was homeschooled and I was doing shows with Keith King and all them, and like Laird and my buddy Josh Boatwright, they would have those early sessions at Mira's, and like if I did jump on a session, it would be more there. So it's kind of funny that I ended up with the unit because like it was not necessarily my go-to, but it was so sick and it was fun. But and it's funny too because you asked a little bit like when Greenville, like the Animal House, the transitions were a little bit more mellow, like even all the Burt walls, and then the unit, the transitions are a little bit steeper. So like dudes that rode the Animal House rode the Animal House, and dudes that rode the unit, and obviously there was kind of the tiff there between Mira and Ryan at one point, but like even so the ramps, and it's funny because like Laird and Austin Hardy both are like, you gonna fix the Burt walls and like make them more mellow, and I'm like, we don't have infinite budget, so we're using what we got, but we're trying to do a little bit of different. So it's just cool that it exists, man. And I do feel like, and I run that Pro Town archive, BMX archives too.
I love that. Yeah, I know we've talked on there before.
Yeah, just trying to save that stuff, man. And that really like spawned on like when Vital started going down, and I knew there were some videos if like we didn't save them off of there, like they're going to be gone. And so that's the only reason I even started that. Like, honestly, I just saved it to my own personal stuff, and I was like, well, let me post them somewhere. And I figured with this place too, I knew it was coming. Like, just kind of save the whole heritage of Greenville. Like, it was such a sick place. It was just crazy, and we all knew it wasn't going to last forever. But maybe this has a little spark of it in it. So that's
I would say so. I mean, it's definitely generated tons of excitement that that what you're doing. It's pretty crazy. It's been talked about. Like, what's crazy is Mira's Warehouse, ended up obviously at Bears Park, which obviously is no longer. But it's funny, you could have. What happened to those ramps? Not that they would like mix well with it, but it'd be cool to have like a vert wall, so you could be like, I have some of Dave's and then
a little section. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know from what I heard, like my buddy Tony got some of the outside section. He's going to do some stuff out in Carborough, Chapel Hill area, from what I was told, which will be cool. He's a cool dude, but I don't know about the inside stuff. From what I know, it went to like Georgia, and they were posting about it a little bit, and then like it went off on. Like, I haven't heard anything else about it. So I don't, it's like one of those things. You get in a building, like, there's a lot of legalities. Like, this isn't a private warehouse. This has got to be open. And then like, thank God we had sprinklers in here, but like we already had a little scenario with sprinklers. Like, we had to spend a ton of money to get them up fit, but then we started having the ramps and our big roll in, which I keep calling Hell Track. It's the big roll in for the foam pit. Over there, it's so big we actually have to put a sprinkler underneath it, which sucks. But it's like you start trying to open a place like this, nobody. They're just making up codes half the time.
That happened at the flow. I don't know if you were aware of the flow, but it was like, same deal. Like when they came through one time, the fire inspection was like, yeah, you have to have sprinklers under some of these ramps, which is insane. Definitely was a blow for them.
I mean, it's super expensive. Thankfully, the way this worked out was where we put that one ramp. It's not that big of a deal, but it's definitely kind of a racket. Like, you have to have a certified dude do it. Like, you can't do it yourself. And like, it's just, we were going to have a lot more catwalks and things around here for like people to hang out on. And it's like, well, shit, we're going to have to put sprinklers under them. So like, it's not something we can do right now. We'll figure it out coming in the future. We're always going to be hopefully changing this place. And the cool thing about this place too is it's huge. Like, we have a bunch. It's like on 14 acres right in the downtown area, and there's like outside sections where we can build and stuff too. So it's going to continue getting bigger and bigger. And even cooler thing is the same nonprofit, Smart Kinston, that's what it's called. They own a bunch of houses, like basically the whole neighborhood right next to this. And there's like 11 Airbnbs and stuff. So it's kind of, and then there's a hotel that's tied to the brewery, which is Mother Earth Brewing. So we kind of have all that under our same owner umbrella. So like, which is sick. It's right down the road. So like, if people want to come into town, like we can have that. That's like more focused. Like we don't, we have.
Well, imagine that for an event. I mean, that makes the perfect. A lot of people are talking about Hastings right now. Like, obviously, they're out of commission for about a year until they have their source park repaired, and that place is amazing. And part of the reason that Hastings is so cool is because you have all the restaurants and bars. There's so much going on right there. So for a contest where people come to town, it's like a perfect situation over there. And it sounds like you got that kind of recipe going too.
We do have that recipe, and like that's one thing that was like, you think like, why did Greenville become Greenville? And it's like a lot of it was, Dave and Ryan and Laird and like the dudes that were there. But then at the same time, like there's a college and not a whole bunch of other stuff there. And like they had a lot of pull with the local government, like the downtown area. And like we have a couple sick little bars and pubs like that are all friends of this place, like helping us out, like right here. We have all the hotels. We have a brewery that's like friends with us. Like, you kind of have the same little recipe. Then there's gonna be a huge outside stage, part of the other section that they're rejuvenating with this project. So we have like enclosed fenced in area downtown with all the like hotels and stuff. So we could definitely host events, like for sure. So that's kind of the hope, at least, and then where we're located, like, North Carolina's perfect spot on the East Coast. Like, we're right in the middle. We're not far from Interstate 95 and Interstate 40. It's kind of like, it's not the biggest town, and like it's got its problems, but a lot of people here are stoked on it. And like, it's funny because this town has got more NBA players per capita than anywhere in the world, and it's because it's kind of like a boring place. So like everybody kind of gets stoked on something. So I really feel like even the local kids, like it's not like a big city where there's a ton of stuff to do. Like, there's really not a lot for the youth to do here. So I have a feeling we're going to have a lot more riders, which is, North Carolina seems kind of struggling anyways right now. Like, there's not a lot of good spots. So it's like, try to give us a little central located spot that we can kind of rebuild the scene a little bit too. And it's easy to get to if you're not from here. So
it's awesome.
So that's the hope. And then even like the recon tour, like they don't have any East Coast stops. So hopefully we can get on that.
I'm sure that will happen. Yeah. If they don't have a spot. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously they had one at the original unit. So
yeah, for sure. So work out. And that's what we're like, some of the course design to like, has that in mind on hosting some of the events and stuff. So that's
are you gonna build like some skate like stuff, like skate like features and stuff, obviously too, like more flat rail, like flat ledge stuff?
For sure. So the other room, I can't even see my camera for some reason. I got this notification on, but this little room right here, like through the garage door, that's 5,000 square feet in there. So like,
Wow.
that's going to be a whole like street plaza. And, you know, there's a lot of local skaters and stuff here that they also don't have a place. So we're working with those guys. And then, you know, there's a lot of street riders like BMX dudes too that I feel like love the rails and the manual pads and whatever else. So we're trying to figure that out because I'm such a old fashioned wood ramp rider. Like I don't even pretend to know what people want on that. So I've got other people like helping. And awesome. It's so, it seems so simple. They want simple stuff. And I'm like, we're over here building this insane, like, about like 19 or 1700s warship, you know, what it looks like. Like we're constructing Noah's Ark in here. And they're like, yeah, we just want like a hubba and like a flat rail and some stair. I'm like, okay, it's easy. That's way easier than what we're doing. So
where were the ramps sitting at for years? Like between the unit closing up until now, right before you started the build, were you the one storing them?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, well, it's funny because it's literally like 2 blocks from here. And that's where my buddies that rode is Robert and Blake Curtis. They grew up riding with me and like they helped me build my original ramps and stuff. They have that roofing company. And so they have like 2 big warehouses, one of them that they use for the roofing company and the other one that's like not in the best condition. And once I got the call, I didn't even ask like Robert at the time. I'm like, hey, we're moving the unit into your warehouse. And he's like, okay. And he was the first one there like to help me move the stuff. And we actually had to cut it. It's like an old, probably 100-year-old tobacco like warehouse. And we cut a big hole in the side of the wall to even get the ramps in there and stuff. And it's kind of a miracle that they lasted in there because some of the roof, like, funny enough, the roof on the roofing company is not the greatest. So like, like it's a miracle. Like there's very limited damage from any moisture or water or whatever. But and it couldn't be any closer. Like this building that we got is literally I can see it down the road. So,
wow, that's awesome for you.
Yeah,
the stars are aligning. It's so crazy. It's so wild. Like how many, it's like how many. Obviously, I'm sure you're running into challenges, but it's like the fact that like everything you just told me is just kind of surreal. Like how like it was almost meant to be. It seems like
for sure it does, and it's crazy. Like you hear about it calling. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like I've really I feel called to do this, and it's like I don't know if it's to help some kid or like to keep BMX alive in the world or whatever it is in our little area or whatever. I don't know. It's because like my buddy Alex Johan was like, you're the craziest person that I know. Because like, I work for myself. Like it actually worked out perfect timing. Like my job I had for a long time, I left it back in July of last year and I've been like kind of working so like my timing is good. Like I can work, I work on motorcycles and stuff at my house. So like I have a lot more free time or a lot more flexible and it's just working out. Like I normally feel like I'm swimming upstream in most things in my life. And like this thing is just like, and I'm sure we'll have more challenges, but it's like win after win after win. So I'm like, you kind of know like it's supposed to exist at that point. And even like the time frame of in between getting the ramps to now, like I've even joked, it's like, I've met some of my friends that like made it possible in that time frame. Like one of my best friends, his name's Stacy. He's an electrical contractor. Dude, he saved us probably 20 grand rewiring this place. And it's like, if it wasn't for him, like, I don't know how we would have done it, like, so it's like certain people in your life. So I'm a big advocate. Like if something's not working out, it's probably because, if you just keep pushing for it, like, the world, the universe is aligning as long as you keep trying for it. So it's we definitely manifest this place. We've had a ton of help. Like obviously we have some super strong dudes around here that love BMX. Jacob Lent is another one, man. He's just a Greenville local that he works his ass off during the week and he comes out here when he's off and like puts in some serious hours. So there's quite a few dudes like that. I just kind of want to name drop them because they've been awesome. My buddy Omar, like, geez, man, we have an ultimate list of dudes that all are very skillful. My buddy Wes, he's one of the main ones. He's in here right now building stuff. Like he's paid for a lot of stuff out of his own pocket, and it's just dudes that literally for the love of the game, man, just love BMX, love like our area and the history of this area, and we want to pass it on to like the next generation. And it's a weird time. Like, more people know what BMX is than ever, but like there's no more feral children riding around like on their bikes. So like, to let these sports kind of live on, like I feel like they need a little bit of structure to get them started. Like, these parents now, like, they don't necessarily just let their kids off at a skate park, at least in this side of the world. Like out in California, probably more so, but like it needs to be a little bit more structured, at least get them in the door. And so that's kind of, after I get this place open, that's kind of my calling, is whatever it takes. Kind of what Crandall's doing with Radshare, whatever. Like, I'll get you a bike out of my own pocket if I have to. If you want to ride, like, I will get you shoes and whatever. And, thankfully we're a nonprofit. So like there is some charitable, like we can take charitable donations for that kind of thing. So that's my biggest thing. It's just making sure, at least around here, like BMX is strong and skating is strong, and give it that outlet and like giving them a place to be, so.
Oh, it's amazing. No, that's really cool. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're going to get a ton of people into riding, like you said, that hadn't even, kids are aware of it, but now that this is here, you're probably going to change some people's lives for the better, which we're all lucky that we all found BMX, because I'm sure most of your lifelong friends are people you rode with. And same for me. So it's like,
for sure.
Hopefully to keep that going for people. People don't realize like the stuff you get to do just through BMX, like you got to do shows and travel and all that stuff. And it's just, there's so many things that it does more than just being on a bike. It's just the whole experience. So it's cool to keep that alive.
Well, it's not just like an activity. It starts to interfere with every aspect of your life, really, in a good way. And maybe it's not always good ways, because like, once I started riding, I could have cared less about school. But like, at the same time, I didn't realize, but it was more school. Like, like I was in high school going to some crazy shows with Keith King and those dudes, like NFL and NBA halftime shows. Like,
wow, yeah,
couldn't have done that. Like, and like you learn a lot like on the road, so different type of school, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something. And like all of our skills, like, every dude that's out here that's a rider is incredibly skilled, like in every aspect, either building stuff or fixing stuff or whatever. And I feel like most of us got our skill set somehow through BMX. So like, it's not a bad thing. And obviously we've all been chasing that high, like from the first time you jump a ramp and meet some other friends. Like, we're all like in our 30s and 40s and 50s, like still chasing that high. So just kind of pass that on, man, because it's a weird time to be a kid. Like, there's a lot of distraction, and like we need to I've taken a lot from BMX, so like I'm like, all right, it's my turn to like give back. Like, the dudes that I had ahead of me were just awesome and some of the greatest of all time. So it's like, if I can just do my little bit and make this place happen, and for like that next generation of kids to all meet and hang out, and then maybe they do something in 20, 30 years, whatever.